Hi, hello, welcome to my channel Jadov Civil Academy. In this class, I am going to discuss about solutions for previous questions which are asked in TS ESET 2020 in the subject hydraulics. If you are watching my videos for first time, please like, share and subscribe my channel. So let us start our discussion. So the first question which is asked in TS ESET 2020 in the subject hydraulics is like this. At a certain point in a castor oil, the shear stress is 0.216 Newton per meter square and the velocity gradient is 0.216 per second. If the mass density of castor oil is 959.42 kg per meter cube, find the dynamic viscosity. So, to answer this question, we should know Newton's law of viscosity. What is the Newton law of viscosity? That is shear stress tau is directly proportional to velocity gradient. That is tau is directly proportional to du by dy. Here tau is the shear stress and du by dy is the velocity gradient. So if I remove this proportionality, then we get one coefficient, that is mu. That is tau is equal mu into du by dy. Here if mu is called dynamic viscosity. What is the mu? Mu is called dynamic viscosity. This mu we need to calculate here. That mu is equal to tau by du by dy. Tau by du by dy. Say what is the value of tau given in the problem? That is 0.216 that is Newton per meter square, right? And what is the velocity gradient? That is 0.216 per second. So if you simplify this, you will get this one get cancelled, that is 1 Newton second per meter square. So this is the answer. Let me check the options here. The option A is 0.1 Newton second per meter square. It is not a right answer. Option B is 0.01 Newton second per meter square. It is not a right answer. Now if you check the option C, that is 1 Newton second per meter square. So this is the answer for this particular question. So let us discuss one more question here. Here the question is that what is the definition of uniform flow? Otherwise the question is uniform flow occurs. So to answer this question, I have written a definition here. Definition of uniform flow. What is the definition of uniform flow? When the velocity of a flow of a fluid does not change both in magnitude and direction from point to point in a flowing fluid at any given instant of time. So what is the meaning of this definition? Suppose if you take a flow of fluid here, so flow is in this direction, okay, the liquid flowing in this direction, right? If you take a one section here, right, and at particular given instant of time, suppose at t equal to at 10 a.m. in the morning, if you want to measure a velocity of this flow t equal to 10 a.m. in the morning at a point section, that is 1 there the velocity is v meter per second, right? Now after some distance I will consider, say after distance s, I will consider one more section here, that is section 2, right? After distance s, I will consider one more section 2. In the same t equal to 10 a.m., if I measure the velocity at point 2 or the section 2 also, I will get the velocity, that is v meter per second square. What it means? The velocity is not changing its direction and magnitude in given instant of time at point to point. So from this I can write that the velocity, the change in velocity with respect to different points or over a certain distance is not changing. So dou v by dou s is equal to 0. What it means? The velocity is not changing with respect to point to point. So this is called a uniform flow, where if condition satisfies this, that is dou u by dou s equal to 0 satisfies, then our uniform flow is occur. So with this concept, let me observe our options here. What is the option A? When dou v by dou t is uh, everywhere 0 with respect to time, but uniform flow is nothing but what? With respect to position, a point to point. So it is not a right answer. Then whenever the flow is steady, it is not a right answer. Then we have another option C, when dou v by dou is equal to 0. So with respect to point, our velocity will not change. So then we can call it is a uniform flow. So the answer for this question is C. Option C is the correct answer for this question. So let us discuss one more question here. A simple question. Buoyant force is. So let me read out the options here. The resultant force on a body due to the fluid surrounding it. Option B, equal to the volume of liquid displaced. Option C, the resultant force acting on a floating body. Option D, the force necessary to maintain the equilibrium of submerged body. So let me explain the definition of the buoyant forces. Suppose a body is immersed in a water or fluid or a water fully or partially. Fully or partially. Let us take a water or any kind of liquid in a vessel, and if you place a body, a partially immersed or fully immersed. In this case I am taking a partially immersed, and when it is immersed partially, then the liquid or molecules are exert a upward thrust onto this body. Liquid exert upward thrust or upward force onto the partially immersed bodies, right? If we take the resultant of all these forces, if you take the resultant of all these upward forces which is causing due to the fluid surrounding to this body, the resultant of all these force will act vertically upward, that is called FB. FB is nothing but what? Buoyancy force or buoyant force. So with this concept, let me answer this question. What is that? V is what? It is a resultant force on a body due to the surrounding fluid on it. So let me check the option A. The resultant force on the body due to the fluid surrounding it. So option A is the correct answer for this question. So let us discuss one more question. It is a logical question here. So a assertion and reasoning type question. The question assertion is, the Bernoulli's equation is applicable to any point in a flow field provided the flow is steady and irrotational. And reason for that is, the integration of Euler's equation of motion is derive of Bernoulli's equation involves the assumption that velocity potential exists and condition do not change with the time and at any point. Right. To answer this question, I will explain you what are the assumptions are made while deriving the Euler's equation and what are the assumptions are made while deriving the Bernoulli's equation. The assumptions are more or less same. The first assumption is flow is ideal flow. The flow must be ideal flow. That is the first assumption, right? And here what we did, viscosity, ideal flow means what? There is no viscosity. There is no what? Viscosity, that is viscous force equal to 0. For ideal fluids, viscosity is 0. And flow is incompressible. The liquid which we consider is incompressible. Incompressible. Incompressible means what? Compressible. Right. Incompressible, it will not compress, means density of that liquid is constant. constant, and flow is irrotational. The third point is flow is irrotational flow. Rotational flow means what? The flow irrotational. Mean if you say a liquid particle, if it is rotated about its own axis, then we can call it as a rotational flow. If it is not rotated about its own axis, we can call it as a irrotational flow. Okay, so based on these assumptions, and the flow must be, fourth one is flow must be steady flow. The flow what we consider here is it is a steady flow, right? Based on these assumptions, we will derive Euler's equation, as well as if we integrate the Euler's equation, we will get Bernoulli's equation. So what is that first assertion? Bernoulli's equation is applicable to any point in the flow field provided flow is steady and irrotational. So it is correct. Based on these assumptions only, will derive the Bernoulli's equation, right? And what is the reason for that? The integration of Euler's equation of motion to derive the Bernoulli's equation involves the assumption that velocity potential exists and a condition do not change with the time. So condition do not change with the time means it is a steady flow, right? And it is Bernoulli's equation is what? Is the integration of Euler's equation. What is the Euler's equation? So Euler's equation is dp by rho plus g into dz plus v into dv is equal to 0. This is Euler's equation, right? If we integrate this equation, we will get our Bernoulli's equation. So what is dp? Integration of dp is p, and here rho is the constant, it remains same in the denominator, and here g is the constant, and integration of dz is z, right? And integration of v into dv is v square by 2, right? V square by 2 is equal to integration of 0 is some constant. Integration of 0 is constant. If I divide this with some small g, that is acceleration due to gravity, I will get this equation like this. Okay, by divided by some c by g means g is a constant, c is a constant, we will get again constant. And if you here g get cancelled, finally we get the Bernoulli's equation is p by rho g plus z plus v square by 2g is equal to constant. This equation is derived based on assumption that flow is ideal. Ideal means there is no viscous force, there is no viscosity there, and flow is incompressible, and flow is irrotational, and flow is steady, right? So here integration of Euler's equation will get Bernoulli's equation. This is correct. So if you check the options here, both A and R are true, but R is not a correct explanation of A. So both A and R are true, it is okay, but R is not a correct explanation of A. But here R is correct explanation of A. So this option is wrong. So if you choose the second option, both A and R are true, and R is correct explanation of A. So this is correct. A is correct and R is correct, and R is the correct explanation of A. So option B is correct for this question, right? Then let me discuss one more question. It is also statement type, right? Consider the following statement. Statement 1. When a nozzle is fitted at the end of the long pipe, the discharge is decreases. And second statement is the velocity of flow at a nozzle end is more than that in the case of pipe without nozzle, the head in both the cases being same. So to answer this question, I have a long pipe here. Assume that is a long pipe. At the long pipe, I have fitted some nozzle here. This is a nozzle. Okay. What is our first statement? When a nozzle is fitted at the end of the long pipe, the discharge is increases. Let us check this statement. To answer this question, we should know what is the continuity equation is. So if I take a section 1 here and section 2 2 here. If I write a continuity equation for this two section, what is that? A1 V1 A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2 is the continuity equation for these cases. What is A1 V1? This is a discharge Q1 at section 1, right? And what is A2 V2? That is discharge at section 2. So what is our first statement? When the nozzle is fitted at the end of the long pipe, discharge increases. But according to the continuity equation, here Q1 discharge at section 1, that is at the long pipe, and at the section which is considered at a nozzle, both the cases discharge is same. So our statement 1 is wrong. What is that statement? Statement 1 is wrong. So let us take the second statement. The velocity of flow at a nozzle end is more than in the case of pipe without nozzle. Right. Let us check that. So from this same continuity equation, we will check. So let me change the color here so that we can clearly visualize. Right. From the same equation, right, A1 V1 equal to A2 V2. A1 V1 is the velocity and area of cross section in the pipe, long pipe, and A2 and V2 are the area of cross section of a nozzle at particular section. From this I can write A1 V1 by A2 is equal to V2. A1 V1 by A2 equal to V2. From this, if you observe that there is a inversely proportional relationship between velocity and area of cross section at section 2. If area of cross section increases, the velocity is decreases. If area of cross section is decreases, the velocity is increases. So for this case at section 2, if you compare the area of long pipe and area of a nozzle, here area of cross section is reduced at section 2. So what happened to the velocity? Velocity is increases. So what is given in the problem? In statement 2, the velocity of flow at a nozzle end is more than that in the case of pipe without nozzle. So without nozzle we have a velocity V, and at nozzle velocity is V2. So in this case, as area of cross section is reducing, velocity increases. So V2 is greater than V1, right? So the statement 2 is correct. So let me check the answer. Both the statements 1 and 2 are correct. So it is not a correct answer. Both the statement 1 and 2 are incorrect. It is not a correct answer. Only statement 1 is correct. It is not a correct answer. Only statement 2 is correct. So this is the right answer. For this question, the statement only statement 2 is the correct. So let us discuss one more question. It is a simple question. The coefficient of discharge for Borda's mouthpiece when running full and running free. Running full and running free. So to answer this question, I will explain you what is the mouthpiece and what is the Borda's mouthpiece is. So mouthpiece is simple, a small piece of pipe connected to the tank at the side or a bottom. This is a side or a bottom. This is what a mouthpiece, right? And here we have another kind of mouthpiece, that is internal mouthpiece. If this small piece of pipe provided inside the tank like this, right, inside the tank like this, then it is called internal mouthpiece. So our Borda's mouthpiece is internal type mouthpiece. Our Borda's mouthpiece is internal type mouthpiece. So here have two figures. One is regarding Borda's mouthpiece running free, and another is regarding Borda's mouthpiece running full. Right. For this we need to calculate what are the coefficient of discharge. Right. Suppose, what do you mean by running free and what do you mean by running full? Say this is a tank right? And this is the head of water in the tank. How to define this head of water in tank? That is free liquid surface of water to the center line of a mouthpiece. This height is nothing but your head of water in the tank. So if this is a internal type mouthpiece, see this is a internal type mouthpiece, Bodas mouthpiece, and if you observe the discharge through this pipe or the flow of water through this small piece of pipe, I can say Bodas mouthpiece. Here there is no contact of water layer to the internal surface of the pipe. So this case we can call it as a running free. In this case our length of this piece of pipe is equal to the diameter of a mouthpiece. So this is L, and say this is assume that is circular one, it is a diameter, right? In this case our length of the piece of pipe is equal length diameter of the mouthpiece. For this case the coefficient of discharge generally will take, that is 0.5. when Bodas mouthpiece is running free, then the coefficient of discharge is 0.5. So let us explain another one. The Bodas mouthpiece is running full, right? Now if you observe, this is the length of a Bodas mouthpiece, right? And this is the diameter of Bodas mouthpiece. So in this case our length of Bodas mouthpiece is equal to 3 times diameter of mouthpiece, right? And if you observe the flow here, the flow is liquid flow or water which is discharging through this from this mouthpiece, which is having contact with the internal surface of the pipe, which is having internal surface of the pipe or the mouthpiece, then we can call it as a running full. So for this case our coefficient of discharge is 0.707. So with this knowledge, let me answer this question. The coefficient of discharge for Bodas mouthpiece when running full. First is running full. For running full, what is the case? 0.707, and running free it is 0.5. So if you observe the options here, option A is 0.8 and 0.5, option B is 0.606 and 0.5, and option C is 0.505 and 0.3, and option D is 0.707 and again 0.5. So option D is the correct answer for this question. So let us discuss one more question here. It is a direct question. The loss of head at the entrance of pipe in a given by the following formula. Suppose this is a tank, right? I want to discharge water from this tank to certain pipe like this. Alright, and this is the water in the tank, and water will flow like this. So this is entrance point. This is a entrance pipe. In this case we have a loss equal to 0.5 V square by 2G. It is a direct formula, V square by 2G. So for this question option C is the correct answer. So we'll discuss one more question. It is a simple question. A channel with constant bed slope and the same cross section along its length is known as natural channel, prismatic channel, artificial channel, or open channel. Say we have a channel. I will draw the longitudinal section of a channel here like this, right? And we will take so many sections, section 1, section 2 and section 3. 1, 2 and 3. So this is your natural ground. Right? And I want to take one more color here to make difference. Right? So this is your bed slope. So this is your angle theta is bed slope at the section 1, and bed slope here, that is also a theta, right? And this is also a theta. This is a bed slope. So bed slope is here constant at every section, and if I take the cross section, that is a B into D, so B into D, this is B and this is D, and here this is B and this is D, and here also it is B and D. So wherever you take the section, at the particular section, your slope is constant and width of the channel and depth of the channel is same at every section. So those type of channels are called a prismatic channels, right? So this is all about today's class, right? If you are watching my videos for first time, please subscribe and share, like and comment if you have any doubts in the comment box. Thank you.